Hello, Libra. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Libra is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. It is totally free, does not cost anything. If there's anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a timeless reading. This energy was activated the moment you clicked on this video. Try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Libra, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And the star card, look at that beauty. You are someone who has been striving to answer the question, who am I and why am I here? I think you have a very strong connection with spirit. I think you have a connection with source. I think that this leads to an intense creativity. We're all artists. We're all creators, right? Every thought, word, and deed is creating our reality. Right? And once we take an intentional grasp of that idea, we can change the world. We can change our lives. We can change ourselves. Right? And I think you know that. I think you have a very close connection with the spiritual energy. I feel a lot of guides around you. Right? I feel a lot of spiritual support from maybe perhaps ancestor energy. You feel very tapped in. You feel very tuned in to source right now. And I think a lot of information is coming your way. I think that you are, you're sort of, this is your North Star. This is your lodestar. This is the path that you are following, and I think that it's the voice of your own soul, and you're trying to stay very true to this. Yeah. I think you've been experiencing a lot more synchronicities lately. But you've always had experiences like that. You've always had so-called unexplained experiences or events happen around you, right? You may come from a long line of psychics or mediums or something like that. I feel a very strong connection with a sort of a lineage for you. Yeah. Let's put this card into a little bit of context. We're going to use our Dove and Serpent spread. There is the Three of Cups, of course. Abundance, recognition, pleasure, joy, jubilation, appreciation, and gratitude. This is your ability to create the sort of the emotional experience that you want, right? There's the Hanged Man. There's the Devil energy. There's the Two of Pentacles and the Ten of Swords. Wow. Even the Ten of Swords, I think, is a very positive card. Every card has light and shadow, okay? But the Ten of Swords, to me, feels like you're recognizing your limitations and you're ready to break out of this bird cage. You're ready to get out of this whatever limiting situation. You're ready to break through to the other side, whether this is a creative project or you're leveling up spiritually, leveling up emotionally, financially, in terms of career or education, whatever it is. I feel like you are, you're breaking through any sort of artificial limits that have been placed on you, whether by yourself or the world around you. It's just, you're ramming the gate and it's breaking wide open here. I think that is a very good card to get. Here we've got the Six of Wands. We have a Seven of Pentacles, a Nine of Cups, and the Ace of Wands. Yeah, the vision, the will, the creative wand, right? And I say everyone is an artist. I think you might actually literally be like you would consider yourself an artist or a creative person. I feel like you're very open to surprises. You're very open to be like, you want the world to like blow you away, you know? It's like you're going to make the most progress and have the best experience of life when you are surprised, when something takes you outside of what you thought you believed, what you thought you knew. You're always ready to be proven wrong. You're always ready to have that breakthrough. You're always ready to be enlightened. You're always ready to have your perception, right? Your third eye even opened, right? And I like that. And I think this really is all about this 10 of Swords here. I think you have beliefs and you have an understanding, you have a conception of the world, but I think you hold it very loosely. You want to be surprised. You want to be challenged. You want to be awestruck by the universe. You want to be confronted with things that you never thought were possible. I think you kind of like to be surprised. Yeah, I think you like to be surprised. And what I think you're doing is you're trying to do your absolute very best at whatever work you're doing. Okay, and understanding that the consequences of that are sort of out of your control. So while you're in this creative energy, because see here, you are surrendering to your star, you are driven, right, to follow your star. This is the engine of your car. This is you navigating by the starlight, right? You're motivated. You have the endurance. You have the strength and the power. You recognize the things in the physical world, the changes that you want to make. You know kind of what direction you want your life to go. But you're not holding on to any of those beliefs or any of those, or even this Three of Cups. Three of Cups is a card that says, I know what feels good and I know how to create more of that. I know how to create life, right? But it's kind of like things that may be very pleasing to you now may not really be working for you later. And you're always looking to break through and grow and challenge yourself and experience new ideas and new ways of doing things. Okay. So if something feels good now, or if you're realizing that your star is taking you in a different direction, let's say you were a person that used to like the beach, right? And now you realize that the beach doesn't really do it for you. Now you kind of like the mountains, right? It's not a choice. You didn't choose to prefer one over the other, but you're being guided by something else, something that spiritual source within you that's sort of directing your attention into other areas, right? Because you're not so, I believe in the beach so much that that's where I'm supposed to be. That's what I'm supposed to love. That's what I like because that's what I've always liked. You're thinking, okay, I guess the beach isn't for me anymore. Now I'm a mountain person. You know, maybe it's city and country. It doesn't have to be these like stark contrasts, but that's what the Two of Pentacles is suggesting, that we're allowing ourselves the flexibility to change our direction in life, to be ever-evolving spiritual beings. You're not going to be just that city person for your entire life. Maybe you will be. But when Spirit is sort of prompting you in a different direction, it's not a choice we're making. It's something within us that we're honoring, that we're giving expression to. And I think you're trying to do the very best job that you can in whatever field you're in, whatever work. Maybe this is a creative project and Spirit's kind of showing you different ways of going about doing this, but you're not so fixed in this is what I'm supposed to do. It's like a musical artist, that they stick to one style of music, one structure of a song, of an arrangement, because that's who they are. That's what they do, and they wonder why it's not working, album after album after album. This is the artist who can change, who can grow, who can evolve a little bit, right? Who can is not so attached, is not clinging so tightly to that identity that we're not willing to grow and adapt and be sort of the best version of ourselves that we can be. Okay, and so I think that's what's going on here, is that there really is this. There's a flow in your life right now. We'll figure out how to talk about it. First, let's do our mystery card, confirmation card, the bonus card. The factor infinite and unknown, and it's going to go right down here with Michael Scott, right on top. We're not going to look at that card until the very end, but it will tie everything together, and it will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If you have a prediction for that card, please put it in the comments down below. Looking at the cards here, looking around the room, we have 1, 2, 3 major arcana energies. We've got fire. We've got water. We got a little bit of air, and we got our earth. Okay, Spirit is pushing you into new and uncharted avenues or pathways, challenging you. Okay, and what you're doing is you're saying, okay, I don't always understand why my life is going in this direction, but this is the direction it's got to go, and this is going to force me to grow and evolve and change so that I can get through this blockage. This is like a challenge. Okay, this is an obstacle in your environment that you've got to adapt to get through. Now, the message here seems to be also that if you're following your star, and you're just focused on doing the very best that you can to honor that spiritual energy, to honor that creative flow, if you're trying to just do a good job, do the best job that you can do, the rest of it doesn't matter. What comes next doesn't matter. How it's received by the world doesn't matter. The aftermath is outside of your control. All we can do is stay focused on being the very best version of ourselves that we can. So let's say you're creating a musical piece and you're recording an album or something. You got to do the very best that you can do to honor whatever is flowing through you, to yield utterly, the Hanged Man, yield utterly to that starlight. Submit yourself to this. It's almost like you have no volition of your own here. You're just trying to be the very best vehicle that you can be for the starlight, and that's what the star is really trying to do, is teach us how to be the magician. The starlight comes in, right? We receive this influx of divine energy. It shows us something about us inside. It illuminates us interiorly. Shows us our blockages, shows us our knots of karma, shows us our attachments, shows us our buttons. And once we start working on that, then the light starts to spill out into the world around us. We start to see the path forward, and we can follow that path. Okay? And that whole process is magician energy. The magician is the pure conduit for that spiritual light. It flows in, meets with no resistance, and flows out into the world beyond. It's like the artist who is just the messenger, just the transmitter of the song. You have a song in you. You have a voice. You have a story to tell. You have a reality that you're supposed to build. Even if you're a business person, maybe you're in school, maybe you're raising a family, maybe you're whatever. Maybe you're literally an artist. Whatever you're doing in life, your job is to do it to the best of your ability and to be the messenger of that energy that's flowing through you. So the star is sort of showing us the process of becoming the magician. I really hope that's the mystery card. But that's what tarot's about, how to become the magician, right? How to discover that we are the magician and how to accept that role and how to do it well. So you are following your starlight and you are working on, I think right now, expressing your creativity. Okay, in whatever way. This is Mercury in Cancer. So this is kind of like giving and Mercury, of course, is the magician. That is the planet that is associated with the magician card, right? Mercury. So this is about figuring out how to express ourselves in the right way. And not figuring out intellectually, but attuning ourselves to this star energy so that we can express what is within us. See, the 3 is always a potential for expression. And Mercury is the planet of expression, right? Of communication, of the strategy, the system. How we're going to do that. How are we going to create? How am I going to take what's inside of me and bring it out to the world? Because again, the 3 is kind of like the song that you have inside of you. And we've got to figure out how to put it on wax, how to record that, how to get that out, whether this is art or business or family or whatever for you, okay? The Hanged Man is your sort of your complete submission to that spiritual process. your complete submission. The ego consciousness has taken a very distant backseat. Okay, the ego consciousness not even really here in the reading. Because what we have, of course, is a lot of spiritual energy clustered. Your surrender and your driving force. And it's kind of like these two almost feel like they're contrary, right? How can you have ambition and a driving force if you're yielding utterly and submitting to something, right? Well, I think you're kind of letting spirit take the wheel here. You have all of this drive and all of this ambition. You have to be able to work hard. You have to have tenacity and perseverance and endurance. But you have to be able to yield to that starlight and not think, well, ego consciousness, well, I'd have more fun over there. It would be more pleasurable over here. Or I like the beach so much, I'm going to just, no matter what, even if my entire soul is pulling me to the mountains, no, I'm going to force myself to like the beach because that's who I am. I'm the beach person, right? Or as I'm the city person, not the country person. I belong in the city. That's ego consciousness, right? But if we really submit to the flow of that starlight, of that divine energy, we're going to be led wherever it goes. And we're flexible enough and adaptable enough. We're holding our ego identity rather loosely, our beliefs rather loosely, that we can learn new things, that we can be surprised, that we can be taken in new directions. And I think if we're able to do this, we're going to be much happier. We're going to be much healthier. We're going to be much more creative, much more successful. Okay? And things are going to flow a little bit easier than if we resist with our ego conscious. This is the only air energy that we have here. And that's an air energy that says we're not limiting ourselves. We're allowing spirit to take us wherever it may, regardless of who we think we are or what we've believed in previously. We're ready for change. And we're ready for change in the right direction, of course, because change is change is change. There will always be change. The magician, it seems like the magician is a very intentional energy, right? Causing change and conformity with my will. But it's not ego, right? It's not ego. It's not really us as ego-conscious individuals causing changes, right? It's about whatever that divine energy is that's flowing through us. And the magician then just becomes that conduit. The magician is just like the copper wire inside of some kind of electrical circuit, It's just the conduit. It's just the conductor of that electricity. Yeah. Conductor of fire and earth, right? Which is what we have here. The fire to the earth. The will and the behavior. Impulse, behavior, will, action, inspiration, implementation, heaven to earth, right? The will and then the change. And so connecting these two, causing change, right? Two of Pentacles, in conformity with the will. That's the definition of magic. And the magician is the one that is able to do this. And you're doing that via whatever song is in you, whatever that creative, whatever that story is for you, right? And I think it's going to bring you a lot of recognition. I think that you're someone with a lot of gratitude. And I think you're ready to break through. You're ready to start writing your story or singing your song or whatever it is, okay? The Ten of Swords, Spirit saying that you're in for a very big surprise. I think that your life is going to be changing in ways that you never would have imagined. You have to allow it to happen. Okay? Your ego's going to kick in. You're going to start to have doubts and worries and insecurities and fears and all this stuff. Trust in this process. Okay? Stay tuned in to your star. Stay tuned in to your spirit guides or whatever is around you. Trust in that. Okay? Now, on the path of the serpent, we're going to talk about these cards. By the way, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. It is totally free. Your general energy is the Six of Wands. Sometimes the Six of Wands can be a little bit of ego, right? It's Jupiter in Leo. It's an expansion of our feeling of being capable, It's the expansion of what we believe is possible for ourselves. The more we get into the flow of this divine energy, and the more we're taken into these new avenues of exploration, new avenues of consciousness, of success, of experience, of happiness, new ways of expressing ourselves. It's kind of like when you go from the beach and you realize that Spirit's taking you to the mountains. When you get into the mountains, that feeling that you have, it reinforces something in us. It connects us with our true self. And it gives a little taste of that to the ego. And the ego says, wow, like we can really accomplish anything here. Now, of course, we got to be careful with that, because then the ego starts to think that it's in control. When really, Spirit's taking the wheel, right? Spirit's driving the car. But this is a very important thing. We need confidence. We need to feel that we're capable. This is a car that is victory after struggle. This is kind of saying that we have connected with something in the right way, that we've accomplished. We've done something to the very best of our ability. And that's what victory is. It's not saying, I did it better than you. Because it's like two people put out an album. It's like, your album's not better than their album. Your story that you've written is not better than their story. It's just different. Okay? So this is the victory over ourselves. The victory here is our ability to say, I did it, and I did it the very best that I could at the time. And now I'm ready for whatever's coming next. Now maybe we're going to look at, okay, how can I ensure that this really gets out there to the people? How can I make sure that people, people are exposed to this, that people pick up on this? But during this act of creation, you're just doing it because that's magic. That's what you do. After you're done, then maybe we can say, okay, I did it to the best of my ability. I feel victorious here. Now what can I do to sort of, to allow it to grow? What can I do to help this thing that I'm creating have the best chance of a long, enduring life, even beyond my efforts, right? It's kind of like when we have kids, or when we produce something, when we make something, we tell a story, we write a book, we make an album, or we build a business, or we build a home, or we do anything in life, right? How is it going to have a life of its own? So I feel like you're doing something that is going to have a life of its own. And it may be, I don't know, maybe a business, it may be a piece of art. It's something that you're creating. Okay. And the Seven of Pentacles is in your environment. So to me, it represents how this thing is going to kind of grow on its own, that you've done everything that you can do. And there's a lot that's kind of not up to you, right? We can do a few things to help it along its way, but once you create the thing, your job is kind of done. I mean, let's say you're writing a book or something. Yeah, you still need to market it and send it out to people and recommend it and give it away to people and promote it and things like that, But basically, how it is received by the world is not really up to you. You can help it, give it a good shot, give it the best chance it can have, but it's not ultimately up to you. Okay. But that's not really a big issue. I think you get satisfaction from that act of creation. And I think you're creating abundance, we see here with the Nine of Cups, on the physical, financial, mental, emotional, and the spiritual creative planes. That you are happy in the process of creation. You are happy to be following your bliss. Spirit is surprising you with a lot more opportunities to do that. Okay, taking your vision, taking your consciousness, taking your attention into many other places. Okay. Now, the Seven of Pentacles in the environment. The way to continue growing and to become the very best magician that you can be, right, is kind of the name of the game, is to know where, to know why Spirit is putting certain challenges in your way. This is a failure. This is a Seven of Pentacles. It's a little f failure. And it's in the environment. It's kind of like if we do something and it doesn't work, or we do our very best but it's not received very well. We've done everything that we could, right? But if we're trying to make progress, if Spirit keeps putting us in front of a certain challenge or a certain obstacle or a certain, failure, a blockage of some kind, there's something that we've got to learn to get past this, okay? So Spirit, I think, is giving you a lot of opportunities right now to identify some of these blockages or challenges in your life and to figure out how we need to grow, what we need to learn so that we can overcome this. To overcome the challenges, we have to adapt. It's like you go to the gym and you're trying to lift these really heavy weights and you can't do it. So what happens? Your muscles adapt, they grow, they learn. Next time you go to the gym, you can lift it, right? I know that's a simplified version of how it works, but you adapt and you grow. You go back to the gym the next day, you're not the same person you were the day before. You've changed, maybe just a little tiny bit. And every one of these little tiny changes, these little adaptations, the flexibility, the challenging ourselves and failing, trying and failing, and then trying again, but a little bit different or a little bit better, that's the process of becoming the magician. That's how that starlight is clearing things out and allowing that divine energy to flow through us, because we're just the vehicle of that divine light. And this is kind of like a blockage. We've got to clear this blockage, and then the light, guess what? It's going to shine forth. So the obstacles in life are very, very important. But sometimes we get a Nine of Cups in this position of the fear, the worry, the concern. And this is a very natural, kind of a natural fear, right? The fear that we're not going to be happy. The fear that maybe what we're doing is not going to matter. The fear that that what we're doing is not worthwhile, right? The fear that if I'm running into blockages, then I must not be following my bliss or pursuing my happiness. But that's just it. This is the confidence to pursue our happiness. And to get to our happiness, guess what? Our confidence has to go through those blockages. It has to find a way to get through there, to get happy, right? It's not, if it was this easy, right, then it wouldn't be your path. It wouldn't be happiness. It wouldn't be fulfilling if you didn't have to work for it or fight for it, right, or adapt. If you go to the gym and suddenly you just walk in one day and you can lift 500 pounds over your head, okay, good. Wow. You don't feel anything for that. But if you had to spend years of your life training to do it, going in every day and lifting a little bit of weight, and then maybe a week later, a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more, when you finally are able to lift that 500 pounds, that's a real accomplishment. That's a real victory, right? And it's not about the goal itself. It's about the process. That's what's so satisfying. It's not lifting the 500 pounds over your head. The happiness is really in the whole process, that you've committed to it, that you've sacrificed for it, that you've surrendered to it, that you've given up things that are of lesser importance to do this. And I think you got some really good cards here. We have an Ace of Wands at the end. This is a new direction for you. Like I said, Spirit is going to be giving you a very big surprise. And I think this surprise is a new opportunity. I think it's a new direction. I think it's you realizing that your life is going in a different direction now, that your attention is being brought to something else than what it has been. That Spirit is implementing a change in your life, and it's a surprise. And I think I think you like to be surprised because it keeps you growing, it keeps you guessing, it keeps you on your toes, it keeps you flexible and adaptable, it keeps you dancing. So this is going to be a new direction for you. Yeah. Let's look at the mystery card. What do we see here? I think maybe a 9 or a 10 of Pentacles. Maybe more major arcana energy. How about we see the World? How about we see maybe the Empress? Well, If you have a prediction, put it in the comments. Let's take a look. Temperance. Temperance. This is the art card, the art of life, right? I think that this is how you're approaching your life. And this doesn't mean that you have to be a painter or a musician or anything like that, but in whatever life you're living, we realize that ours is a unique picture, that each one of us has our own story to tell, our own voice, our own song, our own art to create. Okay? And it is through, this card for me is like a pressure cooker. To me, this card is kind of us being on the blacksmith's anvil, being molded and shaped into whatever we're supposed to be, and we're all different. So this is realizing that it's through our experiences that we become who we're meant to become. And the more difficult and challenging those experiences, the greater the change in that particular cycle, right? If we're going through life and it's pretty easy, we're changing still, but very slowly. But the more difficult the situation, the greater the change, the greater the adaptation that's going to be needed. Kind of the harder we're being hit with the hammer, and we're being molded a little bit more that day than in other days. And so really it's the art of creation of ourselves and of the world that we exist within, but mostly of ourselves, right? This is how we are being molded and shaped through the experiences that Spirit is directing us toward. So there's no fear. There's apprehension, there's worry, and yeah, there's fear, but there's confidence, and there's trust, and there's love, a lot of love. Yeah, I think your relationships are going to be improving as well. I think maybe that's part of what this is. Spirit's putting you on a path that may feel more challenging, but it is infinitely more rewarding, and I think it's going to cause a lot of major changes in you as you adapt to this sort of new direction that your life is taking. Yeah. We're going to do an extended reading. We'll do some oracle cards. We'll do an I Ching reading as well. There's a link up top. There's a link down below. New readings for Libra on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Be sure to watch both readings. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It is totally free. It doesn't cost anything. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you, and we're all in this together.